beautiful Corvette. Well, today's a big day for this car, as I have that. The Borgeson Power Steering box. It's going in this 72. So for anyone who doesn't know what the Borgeson is, it is essentially a steering box for this car, except it doesn't use the regular style rack that you would see on these cars. So the fact that this is a manual steering car is actually perfect, as if this was already a power steering car, I would have to modify the whole steering system. I don't have to do that. Let me show you. So with the Borgeson, the nice thing about it is all you really do is replace the steering box and then throw a power steering pump on the engine. It's pretty much all you do with it. It's that easy. I put one on a 65 Roadster at work, and I thought it was pretty easy. I've been wanting to get one for a while. I don't know why I didn't do it in the first place. But yeah, no, I just decided, why not? So this will be fun because, you know, the car's a running, driving car, and now I gotta rip the steering out of it. So basically what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to take the box off, gonna have to disconnect the rag joint. And then, unfortunately, because you have to do this on C3s, is the brake proportioning valve has to get relocated. Now, I'll take that over what I would have to do if this was a C2. Because if this was a C2, you'd actually have to cut the steering column. Since C3s actually had a collapsible steering column, you don't have to do that, which is pretty nice. I'm probably gonna have to get more belts. So Donnie did bring me a replacement belt for this. I didn't put it on because I'm probably gonna have to redo my belts, and it probably won't work for this anymore because I'm now adding power steering, which, I mean, that's fine. I can get new belts. It's not like that's the end of the world, and I can return the one that Donnie got me and get the correct ones, I guess. But anyway, let's go ahead and open up this box and take a closer look at all this Borgeson stuff. All right, let's go ahead and get everything out. Get it laid on the ground. Kind of see what I'm working with here, although I know what I'm working with. I hate packing peanuts. I really do. I just do nothing but make a mess. Okay, so it's my power steering pulley. It's a 2-groove, which does mean that my belts won't work because I'll have to run the alternator with the power steering pump rather than have it running the way it's currently running. Which, I mean, when you only have the alternator, you don't really need much. You really don't. Okay. I got this big box. This. Oh, yeah. Now that has got to be the steering box itself. There's no way it's not. It's heavy. Oh, there we go. Oh boy, this thing's a little heavy. So there it is. Borgeson Power Steering Box. I believe it's a remanufactured Delphi steering box that they somehow get all the power steering inside the box, which is pretty neat. So that's why you don't need any of the cylinders that go underneath that do nothing but leak. That's one of the reasons why I went with this power steering conversion kit versus others, because it doesn't use any of that crap. You can just bolt it up to your manual steering and have no problems whatsoever, which is pretty awesome. There we go. There's the box itself. That thing is not light. We got our hoses for the pump. Sounds more like hardware's in here. Let's see what it is. Ah, yes. So this is the bracketry for the pump. Now, James, I know you're watching this. I know you commented on my community post. The whole reason that guy left a 2.5-star review on this kit was simply because of this. This isn't painted. So I can actually understand that. which is interesting. Because, well, no, that's right. We didn't order the one with the pump at work because we bought a different pump for it. But yeah, so that's the reason why this thing's got a bad review on Amazon. They didn't paint the bracket. I definitely understand why someone would leave a review for that, because this thing looks horrible the way it is. So it's not too big of an issue. I've got some Scotch-Brite so I could scuff it. I got some primer, and I think I got some black paint around here somewhere. So I can paint this myself. I'm not too worried about that. Brand new rag joint. You need a new rag joint when you do this. Thankfully this kit comes with one. And then this will probably be the worst part of the install, which is the pump. And the reason why I say that is because everything I've done on this car has been with the intention of not having AC or power steering. The downside to that is I now want vintage air and power steering. So yeah, but vintage air is a little bit more expensive than this is. And yeah, this is the pump itself. You go on the engine. So you may notice a lot of oil in the box, stuff like that. I'm gonna say this right now. They test everything before they ship it out. So if you buy this kit and you see oil and you think something's wrong, it's not. They test all of their kits before they ship them out. Make sure they work. But that looks like it's everything in the box. Okay, so how I'm gonna do this is, I don't know, it's gonna be quite interesting. So I have to disconnect that rag joint. I don't know, because here's my thought on this thing is knowing when that box there, when it's straight, you know, because last thing you want is to be a couple of teeth over and you can never get your car to actually be straight, and it's don't really want to deal with that. So what I'm kind of thinking about maybe doing is after I get the steering box out of the car is rotating the tires either all the way right or all the way left, put the new box in, and then get it rotated to where it's all the way in the same direction. And then at that point you just hook it up from there. And that's kind of what I think I'm gonna do, because I think that's what I did with that steering box before. Yeah, I think that's what I did with this steering box. Although I believe that there's a flat spot here that lines up with this flat spot here, and that kind of gives it away when you're straight. But I didn't know that at the time. But for sure, I just went all the way to one direction. So, okay, I think it's gonna be a long day. That's what I think it's gonna be. Think maybe start with that rag joint and then just slowly work my way forward. I got the bracket for the power steering pump painted, so letting that dry, but I mean that's gonna be like the last thing to go on. But yeah, I mean, it's not too bad of a kit. You can easily do this in a day, but it's just there's some small things that I don't know that kind of take some time. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and start here. So this rag joint is brand new, but it's being stubborn like usual, so I just spritzed it down, try to help let that thing pop off, hopefully. So I don't know if I'm gonna have to slide it that way or if I'm gonna have to do something I really don't want to do, and that's take the steering wheel out, which I believe you can do it without it, because there are videos of people installing this on YouTube, so I'm not gonna be doing like a full tutorial on how to do this stuff, but I don't think they ever had to pull the steering column. I don't know, I may have to check. Well, I found the instructions, and you don't have to remove it if you don't have to remove it. So basically, I'm gonna try doing it without pulling it, because I don't really want to pull the steering column. It's not like it's too big of a deal, it's just, I think my issue is the fact that I just put on this plate, this trim cover, but dropping it, it's not too big of a deal, and I would only have to move it a little bit, but I don't know. We will see what happens. I'm not going to record everything that I do, and I haven't been doing that, but I don't know. I'm not going to record everything I'm going to do. You'll probably just see it as I update slowly. I do like showing how to do things, but like I said, there's already videos of how to do this out on YouTube, and you can go watch them. They're probably more educated than I am. I'm just, you know, winging it. So I'm not going to record the whole process. But yeah, I'll just do it in steps. So we'll see if we have to collapse that or not. We'll just work on this, try to get that out, I guess. I've done it before, so I should, in theory, be able to do it again. So I ended up just separating the rag joint. I mean, I got a brand new one. I was trying to see if this one would be able to get off now that I had this all the way moved up, but sure enough, nope. So I think now I'll just disconnect the pitman arm, which I hope that's not going to be too difficult. It was at work, so a little worried. And then after that, I can drop the steering box. Oh boy. Well, I guess here we go. Well, I got the pitman arm off. A little tip for you guys if you're doing this like me in a garage with barely any tools. Put your castle nut, I got sitting over there, put your castle nut back on top of that after you break it loose. Turn your tires all the way to the right. Then you can smack on the top of the castle nut just enough, and it will push that right out, and you won't have to worry about marring up your threads, and not have to worry about trying to figure out some way of getting it out, because I mean, it's not really roomy under here. Do you ever get tired of stuff just breaking? Suppose, to be fair, I probably should have unplugged it before I got the steering box loose, but I didn't think about it because I thought I was going to drop the steering box down and out, but there wasn't enough room, especially with the header. So this car is again, well, I mean, I don't have the belts anyway, but if I can get this boot to slide back, I don't know if that's even possible, but I can fix it, because I had to cut these wires myself, so I know how to fix it. It's just, am I able to fix it? Anyway, there's the old steering box. I got the new one right here. I'll give you a bit of a side-by-side comparison. I mean, it's a bit of a difference. Just a bit. A little bit bigger. So, as you can see, that sticks out a bit more, which is why that proportioning valve is going to have to be removed and put someplace else, but I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put it. Especially since I've already got lines on it and everything. I mean, I don't know. We'll burn that bridge down when we come to it, just like we'll burn that bridge down when we come to it. Anyway, that was, it wasn't too bad. I'm going to reuse the bolts, because it did come with new bolts, but they're these. But I'm going to reuse these bolts because I can't get that one out. There's an inner fender in the way. So yeah, that's just gonna have to be the way that it is, which, you know, well, it's whatever. Those bolts were brand new to begin with anyway. So I'll go ahead and get that pitman arm off, and then work on getting that box installed. I'm hoping I can drop that box in through the top, because I don't really want to take off my header. I mean, it's not the end of the world if I have to. It's just I don't really want to. So I don't really want to talk about how much of a pain this whole process has been, because believe it or not, the steering box should be in by now. But I wanted to show you guys this. So this is kind of like what I was dealing with in this car before. Look at how loose that is, and it's just, it feels horrible. And maybe there's something you can do to fix that, I don't know. But then you get this, which I can't even do that. I have to use 2 fingers to rotate it. There's just one rotates the whole box, but this thing, it's just like, nope. So yeah, that is going to be awesome to feel the difference. So I've been fighting with this thing, trying to get it to collapse for way too long. So I've decided, screw it. It's only 4 bolts. We're going to take the steering column out and we're going to try collapsing it outside, because I cannot get enough room in here to do anything. And it's not collapsing at all. So this is going to be easier if I have room to do it. At this point, I'm really starting to wonder what happened to this being an easy project. Oh boy, I'm getting wore out doing this. I mean, that really kind of sucked. But I got it out. And this is the first time it's been out. I mean, I got it loose before when I put it in, because I forgot to put the rag joint on. So I got it loose before, but this is the first time it's actually been out. But at least now I should be able to get that to go in a little bit. Oh man, I'm exhausted. That was a bear to get out of there. Oh, finally. That took... Oh, that was just not fun. Let's just say that. Took a lot longer than I wanted it to. This whole thing was supposed to be done by now. Well, everything but belts anyway. But I guess now I can throw everything back together. It's gonna be fun. The biggest issue is all the wires I gotta get around. But at least I finally got it collapsed. I just hope if I need to extend it, I'm not in trouble here. I ended up deciding to paint some of that a little bit. There's some rust all over it, but I decided, well, why not throw the box in? So the box is in. I don't have the nuts on it yet, but that's looking pretty good. My biggest concern at this point is probably going to be my spark plug wire. That's going to be fun. I mean, I do have to fix it, which I might put a different boot on it, and that might make getting it down there a little bit easier, but we'll figure that out. But yeah, it's finally coming together, and hopefully here in a couple of minutes I'll have this bolted back on and ready for the steering column, and then go from there. So in case you guys didn't already know, this is not a one-person job. That's one of the few things I'm good at, apparently, is doing a 2-person job by myself. It sucks a lot, but we're getting there. So I was right. It collapsed a little too far. You can't see that. But I'll try to get in there and get that to line up. And we can finish bolting this thing down. I got the bolts on there. Everything's in the steering wheel. Everything's still kind of loose, so I can move it as I need to. But once that's on, I hope that steering box is straight. I kind of did what I did at Kaufman Corvette. I would rotate the box all the way to one direction, and then I would count the rotations to full lock the other direction, and then I'd divide it in half. And that's what I did here. And it lines up with where I put my my rag joint on the steering column itself, so we'll see. Okay, this is probably the most work I've done on this car in a while. It's in, and it does work. You know, steering wheel is straight. This still needs a toe adjustment, but I mean, like, there's not that loose play anymore. So that's going to be interesting to drive this car. Now that I've got that done, I need to move my ground cable there, because I think that might be where a mounting point is for this bracket for my power steering pump. Once I get the power steering pump on, I can then run the lines, and then I can fill it up and then what you're supposed to do to bleed it is you fill it up, you don't start the car, and then you just rotate. You know, you go all the way to the right, all the way to the left a couple times, and when you see that fluid go down, you add more. Then you start the car and run it. You don't have to do that, but that's what I'm gonna do. And it kind of what the instructions tell you to do, so I figured why not? But it's looking pretty good, and I can't wait to try out this new steering. Well, the power steering pump is on. Still have to run the hoses. I was getting the measurements for the belts. I moved this belt back. It was up here. I'm gonna have a belt that goes here to the power steering, and then a belt that goes to the power steering to the alternator, which I believe is how it's supposed to be ran. One of those combinations is supposed to be ran that way, at least with the pictures I've seen online anyway. So this is in, that's attached. I gotta finish bolting that all together. But yeah, so now I'm at the point where I need belts, but I may as well just go ahead, put my power steering lines on, figure out how I'm gonna run those. That's gonna be fun. Then maybe start filling that thing up with some fluid and kind of let that kind of do its thing, I guess. Okay, well, pump's on. I filled it up with some fluid. We got my hoses ran. Unfortunately, all I have are white zip ties, not any black ones that would blend in a little bit better. But yeah, I would say this thing's almost ready. The only thing I'm waiting on is 2 belts. I just need 2 belts, and then I can fire this old girl up, and we can see how this new power steering is going to feel. May as well, since there's really nothing else for me to do until I get those belts, may as well fix this. Yep, it's gonna be fun. And I have to finish tightening down the steering column and all that. Okay, well, all that done, got new belts on, so I figured, well, let's fire it up. I don't know, my alternator's not lining up like it should, so we may have an issue with like a belt flying off, so Brad's standing pretty far back. But let's see if we get power steering. Hopefully nothing leaks. So, a lot's kind of happened in between last video and our last few seconds and now. So, as you know, the spark plug wire didn't really work. So it was firing on 7 cylinders. So I killed it. I kind of jerry-rigged up another spark plug wire. I wasn't sure if it was going to work or not. And so I fired it up, and it actually worked. So I figured, well, let's just go through its heat cycle and then try turning the steering, see how it felt. And I shut it off. Now I'm just kind of waiting for it to cool down so I can check the pump and fill it up. But unfortunately, I'm not going to drive it with this. I don't like how I have this thing rigged up. So I'm going to be getting some new spark plug wires, which I kind of need to do anyway, because the spark plug wires I have the long boots. And this boot is hitting the steering box. That boot's pretty long. I mean, it's just, they're bulky. They're in the way, and I kind of want to get away from those. So I'll be getting some new spark plug wires, and then I can test drive it. So yeah, this is becoming a much longer video than I intended, and it's become much more of a pain than I intended. But yeah, I'm just gonna wait for it to cool down, then I'll pop it off, and then maybe we'll fire it up again and see if it feels any better or not. Well, refilled the power steering pump. We're going to start it up again and see if we've got power steering or not. Well, as you can see, we finally got power steering in the car. That is so much nicer. I cannot wait to drive it. However, I won't be driving it just yet. I want to get that replaced, but I'm going to be doing that in this video still. So as soon as I get that replaced, we'll have this thing back on the road, and I'll show you guys the steering. And yeah, so for me, it might be a day or two, but for you guys, you know, it's going to be a couple of seconds. Well, I got my new spark plug wire made. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I actually already drove the car. Actually, I just got back, but right now I don't have any of my guys here, my cameraman, because I don't really have a good way of setting up a camera. So I'm still gonna drive it in this video. Don't worry. It's just I wanted to at least let you guys know I have driven the car. I don't want to be one of those YouTubers who just makes everything fake, but I have driven the car and went, whoa, night and day difference. Yeah, as much of a pain it was to install that thing, I'm glad I did it, because I can actually drive this thing with one hand now. I don't have to have my arm shoved down in here, because usually that's what I'd do. I'd shove my elbow in here and hold the steering wheel, but now I can drive it like this, no problem. And it's quick too. Like, when you talk about how much play there is, I don't really know, because whenever I slightly move the steering wheel, the car moves that way. So that's pretty nice. A lot better than what it used to be, that's for sure. But yeah, like I said, the only reason why I'm not showing you guys a video of me driving it right now is because my cameraman's not here. But that should be coming up in any second. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and go for a drive, test out this power steering. You're probably not gonna hear me too well, but we're gonna have to try to hurry. It is starting to sprinkle. Oh. That's the second time I've driven it with the power steering. Finally had Brad here to be my cameraman so we could get a video of it. It's so much nicer. It is so much nicer. Like, it's... The old steering, if you went like this, the car wouldn't do anything. It would stay straight. This steering, you go like this, the car goes like this. So it's really nice. It's not so sloppy. Like I showed you, right here it is actually. I showed you just how loose that is. If you set this thing down, you know, you can really just spin this, and it doesn't. In the other box, actually, if I tried doing that, it would lift it up like that. Just trying to spin it. So all that slop's gone, which is nice, and it feels a lot better. Oh boy. I guess that's gonna probably do it for this video. But there it is. That's installing that Borgeson box, giving this thing power steering. I mean, it feels really good, and to my surprise, no leaks. That's my yeah, that's my biggest surprise out of this. It doesn't leak. But there we go. I think that should do it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. I got a lot more plans for this car. We're still working on the body work. TJ had a little bit of an accident, so he's kind of healing up. I want him to get healed and be 100% before he comes out here and finishes up the body work. And then I got to still fix the sending unit and the tank and a whole bunch of other stuff I still have planned for this car. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, maybe consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.